October 7th, would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Man.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing on our agenda, we have some department head reports. So we have our assessor first. And while we have you here, we'll also talk about a mill levy public information requirement. So,
Are we doing it at the same time or later?
no, we'll do it at the same time. You don't have to, we're not going to bounce you back and forth. Get you all at one time.
Okay.
So, Miss Bugg.
So the assessor's office, it's been pretty quiet. We just had a little change in staffing. Mary Bromwell resigned. She went to Access Health. We are training Jason for her position, and I think it's going pretty well. So we're not going to replace, we're just going to leave it as one person doing the front counter position for right now. I think it's going to be okay. As far as what's going on in the assessor's office, we're getting ready to do special notices of value. That'll be all the notices going out for any splits that have happened since May, any subdivisions created, any corrections that we had to do on any values. Those will go out probably within the next week and a half. So there'll be a 30-day protest period, but those are pretty easy to handle. You created a new parcel. There's never hardly any protests for those. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. Nothing much going on. Just
Okay.
waiting for the end of the year. See how that's going to go.
And then we start the odd year, which is where we start our reassessments, correct?
Reassessments and all of the new rules that are happening. Yeah, we'll have reval starting, well, we're actually going to start reval probably in November. We'll start working with our numbers, working in 25 for our new numbers. Still don't know how our software is going to work with all the new rules that are required. Still waiting to see what Tyler's going to do to make that all work.
So they're
The
making
school
new rules
district's
before
gonna
they can
be the
create
hardest.
software.
Well, the rules were created in the special legislative
Yeah.
session. So because there are so many different varieties or
The
numbers
hardest
now.
one's going to be the school district, how to figure out to make the pull all the school districts out and create new residential rates for all the school districts. That's going to be the hardest thing. So, and then basically creating new tax rolls for all of the school districts down to Ellen. Ellen's going to have to figure out how to get tax bills created for all of that. It's going to be, Tyler's going to have a lot to figure out for both offices. So that's going to be probably the biggest hurdle, is figuring out how all those new rules are going to work. The assessment rates, just plugging them in the system, that's not hard.
Sure.
It's getting all that stuff pulled out. It's going to be difficult.
Okay.
So that's about all that's going on for us right now. But this
All right.
got brought to me kind of, I think by mistake maybe. It's a new bill. It's House Bill 241302, which requires local governments that levy property to provide a specific mill levy information packet to be provided for public information. So it's, they have to turn it in when they turn in their certification of values to the commissioners every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to make it available, I'm assuming, on the website. So this draft that I sent you guys
Yeah.
is what the state drafted as a template letter you could use for all the requirements that the state is asking for the entities to report to you. You can use it, you can change it up if you want. It's up to you, however you want to do it, but we have to make it available for them to use. We have to let them know it's available to use. And then they'll return it to us in December when they return their certification letters.
So.
But really,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
The way I read this statute, the onus is on these entities, not the county.
We,
The statute talks about all those entities that levy. They're the ones that have to provide this information.
well, the way I read it, it was up to us to provide the way we wanted it to be reported to us, so that it was a standard report to us so that we could get it.
So I'm not sure about that. I mean, what the statute says is it says when a town, city, school district, special district, or other taxing authority certifies its levy, it shall also provide the following information for each levy that it imposes. And then the statute sets forth the information that needs to be provided.
Okay. Well, I read it that the county commissioners, it was up to the county commissioners to choose the form, which would be this form if they wanted to use it or create their own.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in providing the form.
It was just so that it was
Yeah,
all on the same
so
form.
it's consistent. Yeah,
Yes,
no, that's
consistent,
fine.
so that we, when we provide it to the public, is all on the same form.
That's
On our
fine.
website.
That's fine. Yeah,
So-
but just be sure the onus is on these entities. They're the ones that have to
Well,
fill.
no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
We're not
So,
filling out this
yeah,
form.
Yep,
We just have to make the form available and let them know that it is available, is all we have to
Yep.
do. We don't have to fill out the form.
yep,
They have to turn it into us in December
That's
when they
right.
return their certification to us.
yep.
Is this format acceptable to your office, to you?
It's not going to be turned in to me, it's going to be turned into you guys whenever they turn in their certification of levies in
Okay.
December.
For the
So it's
mill.
just an extra report that they're now required to turn in to you at the end of the year that now we have to make public. And just another,
So I
Yeah.
think if I read Heather's email properly to you, she was just asking you which format that you wanted it in.
yep,
Which is, then it came to us in that email, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, if
exactly.
this is appropriate for you and it works,
Well, it's
then-
not up to me.
No, I understand
It's not
that.
appropriate. It has nothing to do with how I want it. It's how you guys want it and what standard you guys want it to be, because it's going to be what you guys want to accept and going forward. Has nothing to do with me at all.
What about finance? Is that all right? This form okay? Because this is the first time we've dealt with
It's just-
something like this.
I mean, the form reflects the information that they need to provide
have
in the
to- yeah.
statute. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't see any issue with the form.
Okay.
It follows the statute almost verbatim.
Verbatim,
So,
and that's,
yeah.
that was the one thing I noticed on Heather's email, is there were a couple of the items that she had left out in her form, that she didn't answer the questions.
Okay,
That was the only thing I noticed in her email.
so I don't have an issue with the form. I guess since it's brand new and if we miss something, then we fix it, or, I mean, it's all the information that's there.
It's, just- yeah. It's kind of an odd,
So what if they decide they don't want to do it?
well, then they're in violation of the statute.
Well,
Then who has to
you read
enforce
up at the
that?
top,
And I don't
it
know who the
says
statute
we can
police are
ask
for
them to
this.
turn it in,
I don't
but-
know.
Well, it says, but it says this, what the statute says is they shall provide this information. It's not an optional, it's not an option for these entities. They shall provide it.
The other thing that this might do is it might prompt them to get them to us sooner than later, because it seems like every year when we're working on this stuff,
And then it also
It's-
looks like
they're late.
when I also go into the portal and upload the final certification or mill levy report, it looks like I'm gonna probably have to upload all of these too. So they'll probably know who didn't file, because they're working on the portal. They don't even have it ready to accept these yet, is what the overview says.
Well, this is one of those great statutes that doesn't have any sort of penalty clause or any sort of information about what happens if you don't comply. It just says you have to comply.
You have to comply, but we don't know what's gonna happen if you don't.
Okay, very good. There's the form. Love it. Like
But
it.
we do have to.
Beautiful.
Probably put it on the website and let the entities know that it is available on the website so they can download it and
Yeah.
fill it out, get it back to us. I think that's our only thing we have to do.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. All right, very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
You have completed your task for the day. You may go back to work.
Thanks.
Buildings and grounds. Mr. Dustin.
Afternoon. It's kind of been normal operation here lately, nothing real crazy. We repaired some walls at the courthouse where some chairs were up against the drywall. Added some cobble in the back there. Whenever we have them big heavy rains, it's washed out in a few spots, so we put some cobble in there to try and help slow that water down. And we put some landscaping rock here at your parking lot, the administration building. The generator install is, they started the underground out at the Fairgrounds. They're supposed to get an inspection today, I believe. And then I believe the plan is to go to Annex 1 next, and then the coroner, and then to Annex 3. So it's moving along pretty well.
So that generator out there, it's not just to run the corner, it's to run the entire building, correct?
Yeah, the whole facility.
Okay.
But,
So is that isolated on just a few circuits, or,
it
I mean,
should-
because obviously the freezers out there are the biggest
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
draw.
yeah, it's just gonna tie into that main panel out there at the, towards the road. And it's gonna sit out there behind that barricade off of L Road.
Okay,
So it should just feed the whole building.
okay.
And then just starting to get ready for winterization and cutting stuff back and all that at the moment.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Nothing. Thank you. Thank you, Dustin. Mr. Shane, vehicle maintenance. What have you got for us today, Mr. Shane?
Not a ton. We had that big auction. That's all done. Everything's paid for. Got all the checks back on that. The only things I really have is those Durangos that we ordered with Enterprise. They've come in, but they won't make it to the upfit until May of next year.
Yeah,
So they just sit there until then. We're not paying for them, which is the nice thing about keeping them through the Enterprise. We're not paying for them until they actually hit the ground here.
yeah, they said the end of May, right? Or potentially they were thinking the end of May?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
So the warranty doesn't start until we pay for it, right?
Yeah. until they
nothing
hit the
starts
ground here.
until
Okay.
we get them delivered.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the beauty, like you said, compared to last time. We had some sit here for 6-7 months
Yeah.
Yep.
before we even had them upfit, and that's not, I mean, yeah, okay.
That Moco bus that was in the crash over here, it's still at Kaziz. It's likely to not be done until almost the end of November.
So they didn't total it out.
They did, and then they didn't. They did, and then they didn't have the evaluations right, so I had to fight with them on that. And once we got the evaluations right, they didn't total it, because they were only wanting to give us right around 70,000 for it, and it was well over that when we purchased it. So, and it was only had like 1,600 miles on it. So that's once we got the evaluations back up to where it should be, they didn't total it. No, they're fixing it, but it's a huge deal. They had to take the motor out of it and straighten the frame and all kinds of stuff. So it's quite a few month process now, but they're expecting to hopefully have that to us late November, back on the road. And we'll be selling a few more vehicles here in the next, probably in the next month, as soon as we get figured out, get them all done and stripped down. And but there'll probably be about 5 more units being sold towards the end of this month. And that's about it.
Is that just vehicles, or is that taking a look at everything else that we have too?
So there'll be more in that auction. We'll throw some road department stuff in there. We'll have some sanders that we don't use for the sand trucks. We will auction the old vac tanks from the trucks. Farmers take those and use them for hauling water and stuff to their cows, and they can purchase a water tank, because all we would do is take it to belts at this point, because they have holes in them and the baffles are gone and things like that, and farmers will take them and put them on their water trucks and haul cows for a few years to the mountains or whatever they do with them. So they usually sell pretty cheap, but there'll be things like that. A compressor out of one of the road yards. There'll be probably 10 or 15 things from the road department that'll go on there, plus these vehicles. There'll be a Moco van and some of the old weed pickups, and that pickup that we put the flatbed on from the road department, got rid of 2 pickups there. We'll put those up there on the auction.
And we're still doing public surplus, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like it's been doing pretty good for us.
Yeah, it seems to be. The nice thing about that is we don't pay anything to public surplus to do it. It's free of charge to the county. They just buy it. They do a buyer's fee when the purchaser does a buyer's fee. So that's how
Right.
public surplus gets their money. It does work good for the county, because we're not trying to figure out how much we paid them. It's
Yeah.
what it says that they bid on there is what we get. So, yeah, other than that, seems to be about it, but I'll get a list of those units. Once we get it finalized, I'll get a list to you guys so we can put it on the website before we get that auction going.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Question? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. IT. I guess you have 2 items, Mr. McClain, so we'll capture you the same way.
Good
We'll get you both.
afternoon. I don't have a great deal. Most of my last several weeks have been spent wrapping up security audits for CGIS, the state, CBI, Homeland Security. Every year, you gotta go through the security audit, make sure that don't have any leaks and all that fun stuff. So we passed them all, so all good there. And then working with elections, trying to gear up that. We've been pretty busy helping them, because we gotta make sure everything's set and ready to go, and because they have remote locations, Mancus and Dolores. So we're just making sure that that's all ready to go and keeping our head above water. Pretty much what we do. And I did finish my network ring around the county finally, so now we have our own little redundant ring around the county, so if something gets cut somewhere, we just go the other path. And that's finished. So
Good.
that's about it for me.
All right. Then let's talk about the Spyglass auditing and for the telecommunications.
I can
This is
sum
something that
up
we did
real
in
super easy for you. We did this about
2015?
2015, I think. They found about $35,000, I think, in errors of money that we overpaid in telecommunications. So, we got a little bit back. I mean, they get quite a bit they get half of that, I think it is. But still, we got nothing, and then we got some. And I guess what I can say about this is there's no cost to us to have them do it. It's just basically we sign it, we send it. I send them a couple telephone bills, and they dig through it and see if that includes AT&T. That's the big one. Because there's so many hidden charges. I don't even know how to read it half the time. And then we just got a CenturyLink bill this morning, and I'm going, I don't know what this is. Can't make heads or tails of what it is. So that's what they do,
And they get 50% of the
whatever they recover.
whatever they recover.
Correct.
So at least we're not paying
We're not paying them
more.
Correct.
We're at least getting it back to where we need it. Okay.
Correct.
Questions, gentlemen?
They make their
You might
money
have
off
done
what
this
they
too.
recover.
There was an AT&T lawsuit here a while back because they lost some information. Did we,
Yeah, that
did we
was-
lose anything? Do you know?
No, it didn't,
Okay.
no.
Okay, well, we'll make that decision tomorrow, but it's pretty straightforward.
pretty
Ian, did you have
straightforward.
any considerations on this at all?
No. This is
Okay,
Anything else, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. GIS, Mr. Doug.
Yeah, pretty quick, just standard stuff that comes across our desk. Of course, we did the official roadmap a few weeks ago here, and sent an email, got some new roadmaps put up as requested, got some new copies laminated to whoever, and sent out to whoever requested those. Did a fairly big project with elections to make sure that their score system, they provided us a table of addresses and all of the voting districts that those were assigned to, so that we could check those against the geography and make sure that, in fact, those addresses were coded with the right voting districts. There were some corrections we had to do. You know, it's a vast and complex system as they store things in a kind of an address range system in SCORE, and for us to validate that. But that went pretty well, but it was a pretty extensive project because there are actually over 60 districts between the fire, the cemetery. Of course, not every single district is used for voting every single year, but it needs to be in the system to be available. You know, libraries, schools, all the different water districts, school precincts, and then there's standard state ones as well. So got that wrapped up. And then I know it's been on our mind for James and I to get this project done, but we will be getting it done this fall, is getting the signage put up on that Road 39 to direct folks to the BLM trailheads, that we will be getting that done this fall, certainly. Just been it's kind of pushed back a little bit, but we'll be doing that. And then Noel and I also, per the roadmap, we use that as a chance to make sure that we got all the red roads, subdivision roads signed as assigned out there in the field. So we installed, I think, 4 or 5 red road signs here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 4.
Did we, I think I asked Derek this when they were in here last time, but did we get those no trespassing signs on those gates up there off of J.85?
Oh,
Or J.75 or whatever?
J.85. We did put a private road sign up there.
Right, on ours, on the county road, but we were gonna also work with the BLM to get one on the back side of that property too.
We have
from
not.
the-
Well, we're going to have to essentially hike or bike back up in there and install one on the gate. But that's part of our project here. I know James was working with the BLM, with Derek, to make sure that we're in agreement on what signage gets put up there, even though we're essentially footing the bill and doing the work. But that's one of the signs. There's going to be 2 or 3 roadway signs and then that sign.
Right.
Yeah,
But the roadway signs are in our county right away.
correct,
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
okay.
and then Nolan?
Yeah, besides the address issued and the parcel boundary adjustments, I've been working with James, establishing how to map out the noxious weeds for his department, and helping with Russell, the new hiree, for setting up a tablet for him to take inventory of noxious weeds in the county, throughout the right-of-ways and wherever that needs to be necessary based on James. So I showed him the tablet, taught him out in the field how to input data, the protocols. In the past, I used to work as a weed technician, inventory specialist too. So I kind of hooked him up with how to take, some show the protocols based on the USDA standards, and set it up for James for him to view the inventory kind of like a real time. It's kind of like similar to the way I set up Spratland with the fire and the flood map, where he can view things real time as the data is taken out in the field. So I helped James with that and Russell. So
Okay. Very good. Anything else? Question? Any question?
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you, guys. Next up, we have a Fair Board letters of interest. I've looked through them all, but the last time we did this was 2 years ago, Commissioner, or was it last year? So we have like 7 applicants now for 4 positions. I think that just to keep it consistent with what we've done in the past is just to set up the interviews, and then we'll pick the top 4 out of that and establish our list, and then we can appoint them after that. Just what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, that's what we did last time,
Yeah.
so. We have,
Some people I don't know I'd like to meet.
there was 2 or 3 that I hadn't even heard of, so. If you guys are okay with that, we'll just give Travis direction to go ahead and set up the interviews. We can just do it on a Tuesday afternoon. Does that work for all of you? Because we're already here. Or we could do it Monday mornings. What
I won't
works
be here
better?
next week.
Oh, that's right.
I'm gonna be
told us
gone next week, so.
We could do it the following week then. Does that work?
Well, I think they was wanting to have some board members on because they're having their Fair Board meetings coming up before the end of October.
It's the end of October? It's
Third Monday?
You're gone next week.
So that would be the 21st.
21st. We could do it the morning of the 21st. Doesn't matter. You're gone this week, right?
Yeah.
But they have their meeting on the 3rd Monday?
Yeah, but if we could actually have them to be appointed that evening if we have them that morning.
Yeah.
21st?
So if you did the interviews on Monday morning, no decisions are made on Tuesdays. If they have a meeting on Monday afternoon, we'd have to have a special
Here's the way I
agenda.
look at it, is if they're interested, just have them all go to the meeting. That way they know what's going on. We'll appoint them Tuesday and they're good for the next meeting.
Yeah, we can do that too.
That way. So the 21st sounds like it works.
Yeah.
And if you guys, I guess if you guys wanted to do it that next Tuesday, I know most of those guys that are on there, so.
We could do that.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Whatever you
that. I
guys
don't-
wanna
Okay,
do.
let's do
I mean,
that.
if you two wanna do it, I
Yeah,
don't,
let's do that. You could, you wanna write down your recommendations or not, or whatever you wanna do.
We'll do it, you're okay then
15th?
on, well, we have something else on the 15th too, though, right?
What? Oh, that's,
That's the night of the, but we could do
That's
it,
the night.
let's do it Monday, the 14th. Oh, that's
14th.
Columbus Day. Can't
Did we
do
meet
that.
not here
Columbus
that
Day?
day.
Okay. Let's do it afternoon of the 15th, after the meeting on the 15th?
Right after the meeting, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, got that, Travis, 15th?
Yes, sir.
Which is kind of good. We have a lot more letters of interest than we have positions open. That's kind of a rarity, but it's kind of nice to have. Okay, so that we'll do our interviews on the 15th, and then we'll appoint them shortly thereafter. All right, removal and replacement of sidewalk for the fairgrounds. Justin, come on down.
Okay, so came a couple weeks ago and went back and kind of made a universal kind of spec sheet for everybody, so they were all kind of proposing the same thing on their forms. So what it's going to consist of, just to kind of recap, is to remove the 300-foot by 6-foot wide existing concrete slab that's there, dispose of that, replace the underneath base with a 6-inch deep layer, 7-foot wide, also 300-foot long, a class 6 aggregate, and then pour on top of that a new sidewalk at 6-foot wide, 300-foot long, 4-inch thick, and 4,500 PSI concrete. So that did change the bids up a little bit when I re-got them back, and I believe you had all three of the bids up in front of you there, so.
Are these local companies?
Yes, they are all three local. And, I mean, I don't have an issue with any of the three. You know, they all have their requirements as far as insurance and things like that. And they can all three pretty much work with me through the end of the year, you know, as long as weather's permitting, of course. But sounds like November would be a good time frame for any of them, as well as us, if we can get it done.
See, now you've said it. Now you said it, see.
But I can probably start working with them, you know, as soon as something's approved. You know, I only got a couple things coming up that would impede on that part of the building. One's right at the end of October. The other is kind of the third week in November. So I can kind of work between those. They'd probably need about a week worth of work, so I can kind of work with that.
I mean, to me, it's, they all bid the same thing now that you sent back out the bid sheet.
Yep.
So now they're bidding apples to apples and not oranges and peaches and pears. So I guess your recommendation is the double E concrete?
I'm fine with double E. Yeah.
I did look at their proposal and they did take out that.
He did, yeah. He
Yeah.
said he left it in there by accident last time, and so he did take it out.
So, which I have no issues with. Obviously, as soon as the work's completed, that we pay them promptly, but, so, questions, guys?
No.
We'll approve this tomorrow?
I don't have any, as long
Okay.
as everything's the same.
Yeah, they all came on the same bid form this time.
Yep.
Okay. All right, then let's talk about the other item that you have here.
Okay, so the other one is our trying to change the electric rate over at the indoor building of the Fairgrounds, the one that we did put the solar on. So kind of in front of you, here's a letter from Empire, and this is basically stating if we want to change our rate plan to the general service 3-phase from our current large power, we would have to sign this and basically agree to these kind of, there's like 3 provisions inside this letter that state if an event happens where Empire Electric needs the facilities that are currently at the indoor building, or in other words, a transformer. If they need that transformer somewhere else, they can come and take that and use it somewhere else and then replace it with the adequate equipment that's needed. That's one of the provisions. The other is if we happen to decide to add any kind of load or do anything to our building as far as improvement of the electrical loads and stuff, we would kind of give them a heads up so they can kind of do an audit on it, make sure we're going to be, you know, under those thresholds that we have to stay under to be on that general service 3-phase. And then the last one would be if for some reason they do come and swap out that equipment to the 75 kilowatt, you know, equipment, then if something was to happen where we damaged that equipment because we exceeded loads and didn't say nothing or didn't upgrade it, then we would be liable for that. That's kind of the provisions inside that letter. If we do change it over, I think there was an attached thing that kind of gave an estimate on our cost savings, and we would be looking at about $5,000 additional cost saving per year if we were to.
To go to the,
Yep. And that's just
General
based
power.
on our limited data that we do have for the last few months. You know, obviously, things do change. If we start having a whole bunch of stuff out at the fairgrounds that we don't currently have, you know, maybe that changes a little bit, but if everything stays status quo, that's about our cost savings when we kind of do all the numbers, so.
I think when we first started this whole thing, that was the actual, what we were striving for was to get to general
I think that was the
three-phase.
idea, yep.
Yeah, it's just taken us a long time to get there, but, I think we have, because we're not, everything we're doing out there right now is a reduction of power with all of the upgrading of LEDs, everything else that we've done, we're not drawing more, we're drawing less.
It is,
So,
and our major,
no, I'm just asking you
Yeah.
a power question. It's not, we're not
Right.
making decisions today anyway.
you know, our major consuming events are in that. So like your March, you know, of 2024, that's right after we had our home and garden show and things like that showing that bill. So it does show that we are staying sufficiently below that 75 threshold that they want us to be at. Plus it kind of shows, you know, if we do have a go over to our other plan, you know, we're still going to save some money on that. So the only time it might be a little different is winter time. That's just because the sun's not out as long, you know, so our solar panels are not compensating for any power that might be used, but we're not doing a whole lot of night
We're not,
things out there. So that's kind of how we've come to this consensus. So
I mean, pretty much in the wintertime, you're shut down by,
as far as events go, we don't do a whole lot. We do stuff during the day. We also do a lot of practices in there. So it's just the lights running, which
Yeah.
are all
Which
LED
we-
now. So it's all low power consumption stuff. We're not pulling big, huge loads for vendors and things like that. So
questions, Commissioner? Okay.
and it's basically, this is a letter that I believe, you know, our administrator, Travis, can sign. I think we just have to have you guys basically give him the authorization to do it. So that's kind of that, if you guys are wanting to go that route.
Okay,
Okay?
very good, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
James, so actually we'll go to Travis on a letter of support.
Yes, James is out this week. He's on vacation, so I'm going to try to just go over a quick crux of the letter. This is just letter of support for the Dolores Watershed Collaborative, basically for forest restoration and wildfire risk management. They're hoping to add some capacity for the Wildfire Ready Action Plan, or the WRAP, and it'll basically affect the upper portions of Dolores Watershed, Town of Rico, Dolores, Groundhog Community, Dove Creek, and hopefully they'll be able to pull some more private landowners into the wildfire risk mitigation.
So scroll down through there, Travis, because a lot of these are not even in our county. What? Or I realize it's the whole watershed, but I guess it's just a letter of support. It doesn't tie us to anything anyway. Any water questions on this one, Commissioner?
Well, this is the same deal we signed that letter of support
2
for
weeks
the other
ago.
day,
Yeah.
for that other outfit, so how many of them are gonna do this?
I think it's just a competitive grant cycle. They are all trying to submit the same thing, aren't they? Is that what they're doing?
I think every one of them, I mean, just like this one, this is through the state forest
Mm-hmm.
part. That other was through the Mancos Conservation District.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about who's gonna be in, whoever gets the grant, who's gonna be in. Well, yeah, I mean, they're competing right now for this, for money to do this. They're all
I guess
plan to plan.
it's the same, yeah, it's the same wildfire risk mitigation activities. And this, well, this is actually the upper watershed. Which is
Well, they
Rico
consider all of that from McPhee all the way up.
up.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
some of it
do you
goes
guys have
back out
any
into
issues with
Dolores
this one?
County and stuff,
Okay.
but, yeah, it's,
All right.
I
Well,
guess they can decide who gets them.
they'll decide who gets that. Okay. Let's see, the annual review of the health. Come on down. Is Jake here? No Jake. No Jake. How come?
Well, he emailed on Friday and said that he had a couple more bids he was waiting on. After I accidentally emailed him, letting him know that we were looking at other possible sources for insurance. So, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but, so. So we did meet with a company called CEBT, just did a quick deal just to try and see kind of where, if we really are or aren't insurable at the level we thought we were. And really, it was just more of to try and figure out, because they're not a standard insurance company. It was more of a way to look and see kind of what else other options are out there, just to try and do more fact gathering. And based upon what we learned from them, they do have the ability to possibly eliminate some costs to us that actually go against us as our total cost per year. So claims, which then would drop, our claim costs down to make us more insurable comparative to a standard insurance company. I.e., as far as things that we can ask for from other companies too, would be like teledoc. So that way, people could not have to go to the walk-in clinic. They could just go online and there's no fee to us for that. So there's just other things that they provide. They have a service called Surgery Plus. It is a co-op of surgery centers or surgeons throughout the state of Colorado that have come together and are offering services at a much reduced rate. And so through that company then, say I needed a wrist operated on, I could go online to this website, find the surgeon of my choice, and then they would provide the transportation to that surgeon if they're not like right here in Montezuma County. So if you needed to go to Denver, they would literally fly you up, provide health or food, provide shelter, all the costs, and then and would have no charge at all on your co-pays for the individual within insurance as an insured person. Because it saves them so much money, they don't even come back and charge you for your co-pay or any of your stuff. So there are companies out there that have other options that I don't think we've ever looked at. So that's really all it was really to do more of a fact finding to see what was out there and kind of see where we fit into the insurable or uninsurable group of counties. They are definitely higher on their cost than what we're paying now, anywhere between 15 to 30%, depending on what plans. But we have no idea where we're going this year because we had a pretty high year last year, and we're set to be higher than what we're paying the insurance company again this year, based on where they're looking. So we pay about $2.5 million in insurance. Last year we were like 3.1 out. This year they're looking at we're going to probably come in around 2.8 million. So we're still going to be over. So the other thing that they have the ability to do that some of the other insurance companies don't. So, and I know there's some other companies out like ACA and some other people that my recommendation is that we'll get to that. They have the ability to work with some of the pharmaceutical companies and do what they call a carve out. So we do have some of our people that work for Montezuma County that do have some pretty high pharmaceutical costs. They would have the ability to possibly to carve those down with the pharmaceutical companies, that standard insurance companies don't have that ability. So there would be a possibility of looking at that, and that could be a very huge cost savings on what we're paying out in claims per year. So with all of that being learned, my recommendation would be, and I need to talk to the committee for sure, but is leaning towards maybe doing an RFP with some very good language just to try and re-look at what's going on and see where we're at with some of those options. Because with having the employees that we do have with the higher costs for pharmaceuticals, as long as they are employed, we are definitely going to be at that higher end or above on costs per year than what we're paying in. And so we're not even going to be in like the 91 to 70 percentile on where we're at. We're always going to be over 100%. And so for good financial sense for us, I think to try and keep our future costs down as much as we can, it's my opinion that we need to do an RFP and put some specific language in asking what they have to offer for those types of items. Also to see what our future could be with an insurance company, because I think it's going to be the long 10-year plan, not just today. And I think that we don't have as much flexibility to control our costs under the current system that we're in, if that makes sense.
So how do we get, because it's already October.
I
Put
understand.
together an RFP and to get it out?
Yep.
Do we even have that kind of time frame?
Yeah.
We do?
Mm-hmm. It's 14 days, right,
Yeah.
It seems like we got to meet with the benefits committee before we even, go any further with this.
Well, and that's the whole thing is, and I invited everybody to be, but since Jake didn't show up, I think only Jason showed up, right?
From the benefits
Yeah,
committee?
so they are invited to be here.
Well, they're not.
Correct. But I'm just saying, obviously, I'm not asking to do the RFP, I just say my recommendation would be to do that, and I need to get with the committee and make sure they want to do that, and then we would have to move on it. But I feel we do have time, and I do feel that would be in our best interest, and everybody that was at the meeting the other day was in pretty much the same consensus, but we only had 5 out of the whole group there. So, I don't know when and if I can ever get the whole committee together. And it would, I guess, have to be email, I guess, and then do it by vote. So, that's what
How many's on that committee now? There should be one out of every department, correct?
well, we lost one when Jennifer left.
Okay.
So,
But you still have
but I think, I'm
Kelly.
trying to remember how many, I think it's 10 or 11. Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah.
All right. And then Jake's still waiting on a couple of costs
Correct,
before he even comes and presents to
correct.
us.
Yeah, which will be next week. He asked for a 1-week extension.
Okay.
So we'll try and put him back on the agenda for next week, and then hopefully he'll have his stuff. I see it going up pretty substantially, but I have no idea. I mean, the last 2 years have been pretty hard on us.
Very hard on us.
So-
And I want to say he'd already warned us that it was going to be a minimum of 13% this year.
Yeah,
I think he said that openly in public last
Right.
year when we had our presentation.
right. And it's not gonna get any better. So. But we decided to go ahead and just report some stuff today. I mean, for me, it's where it's at is between now and next week is getting with the committee and then getting some kind of 100% consensus if that's what they want to do. Because not everybody was there and I have to get out the information. But the problem is Jake was supposed to be here today for us to get that information, and now we're a week delayed. So it may push it to where that may not, our timeline may get crunched. So. Yeah.
Strategies and tactics.
Yeah.
Strategies to keep going.
Yeah, I
and
mean, and the other thing
tactics
is
are to wait till the last
there are other
minute.
companies out there that do get their information out a lot quicker too, which is something that, I don't know, if we can work with Jake or whoever it is to try and get it earlier. because that company gets us their data in August, not in October. So, I mean, I think that's part of the reason I feel that rewriting something with some better demands is a direction to go, if that's a consensus that we can get. Because we're seemingly being forced at the last minute every year to try and make a decision at the last minute. So,
Okay. Questions?
No. It's like I said, every year,
Wait till the last minute.
we wait till the last
Right.
minute and they're pretty much forced into a corner.
right.
Okay.
And it may be that it has to all wait till next year, I don't know.
Yeah,
We may be too late,
keep trying.
so. Okay.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Let's see, all the way down to Extension Advisory Committee bylaws. Wow, this sounds like our conversation Friday morning, right, Travis?
I hope it was a great conversation on Friday.
Oh, no, we had 4 attorneys that in the room arguing the same, yeah, never mind. I'll stop.
Well, hopefully these are pretty low-key. Ran these by Ian and Travis. So I think Ian thought they were pretty good. I know I brought this, maybe I brought a draft or we just talked about it. I forget now, but we had a resolution, so that kind of established the advisory committee. And then through combining that resolution and then a draft of bylaws from another county, kind of combined those. Ian looked that over. And I think one of the things that you all brought up, it was like up to 12 members. We don't need 12 members, so we reduced that down to 7. And then in Article 3, Section 3, kind of outlines how members are appointed through you all. It added language for after 2 full terms, the member must wait at least 1 year before reapplying. People on the board really like that, of getting different people on the board. It also lets people get off the board. Like David Temple has been on the board for 20 years. He has given us so much, but it's okay to step off and take a little bit of a breather. And then it also added language that says appointments to fill vacancies on the advisory committee shall be made by the board as needed. So it's like if someone steps off for whatever reason, we can just kind of fill it. Gives us flexibility. So those are the highlights. Do you all have any questions?
I looked through them, I don't have anything.
Okay.
No, I think the biggest thing is reducing that number. I mean, that's,
I don't know who came up with that, but they were very enthusiastic. So, yeah.
7 is still quite a bit.
It is, but, we currently are completely full with people who are interested, so that's really great. And kind of already have people who are interested for the next year, because David probably will step off. And that 7 also gives us, we have a kind of de facto, the 4-H County Council President. She is the 4-H representative. So we have like 6 community adult members, and then that 4-H President Council, which is really cool. Then we have that 4-H County Council President come and report to us to hear, from the 4-H side. It's really, it's wonderful to see their speaking skills that they've learned in 4-H, but then we can get that feedback from the kids as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, I know you guys don't make a decision on that, but mañana, I guess,
Mañana,
you'll make that.
we'll make it.
We'll make
I
it.
have no questions. Commissioner, do you have any?
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Well, it'll get us kind of set, and then
Back.
we can, all of our systems in place. Then I guess, if allowable, I was also just going to give you all a brief report, and I don't know if you all got that, but we've been putting together or trying to figure out ways to concisely communicate what we do. So we do a lot, and I know I've been here, and you guys have said, man, Emily, you talked for a really long time. And so this is a
We've
goal.
never said that.
This is a goal to communicate to our advisory committee, communicate to the public, communicate to you all, of kind of just summaries. We're aiming for quarterly. We don't always meet our goals, but then we catch up just to give snippets of what we've been up to. And then at the end of the year, then we kind of have a yearly report to show all the different things that we've we've done throughout the year. Also gives people an idea of what on earth does Extension do? You know, doing things from a Master Gardener help desk to 4-H programs to ag irrigation classes. You know, we get our hands in a lot of different things. So I just wanted to share that with you. But I'm sure, as you all know, this is National 4-H Week. So I know you've all been celebrating so far today. And if you'd like to continue the celebration, you can come to the Extension office and get a tasty treat of a cupcake that is a little bit green. So you can put that on your stop to...
A little bit green.
Yeah, well, it has some green
Like in-
frosting on it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we might have to take a walk across the street is what you're saying.
Yep.
right.
So, and to everyone in YouTube land, you can also come by the Extension office. Tierney has a whole slate of celebrations. So on, Thursday, wearing our 4-H gear. And then, so she did a tour de 4-H with IFA. So they set up booths explaining, different 4-H programs. And so that was on the 28th. And then this Saturday, she has a booth at Big R. And so they're just, sharing with the community about 4-H. If you have questions for Tierney, you can always reach out to her about 4-H. And she has a few little kind of taster things. She has a knitting class going on where the kiddos make a little knitted rabbit. And then they can also show that at fair next year. So it kind of gets them into it. She's also doing a sewing class in November and a food tasty treats class in December. And we have achievement night is November 16th. So that'll be the 4-H celebration. With horticulture kind of winding down the year, we did a Master Gardener help desk on Tuesdays just to have a time that was set when Master Gardeners could come and volunteer. We could answer horticulture questions. And then we had Master Gardeners who they also went to the Cortez Farmers Market once a month just to tell people what Master Gardeners do, kind of communicate about Extension. And so the last one was this Saturday. And then we have one of our fabulous Master Gardeners, Connie Clemenson. She led an effort. They planted 5 garden beds at the City of Cortez Library. And so we're working on some signage, but it's a collaboration. The city agreed to this. There's the Friends of the Library who was really supportive of it. So Connie got all the plants donated from, different Master Gardeners. It was a great effort, so they'll continue to maintain that and put up little educational labels on those. So that was a really cool effort. Then we have a Master Gardener end of year potluck where we get everyone together to talk about the different volunteer opportunities. So that'll be in November. And I had a CSU Extension intern with Mancus and Cortez Economic Development Directors this year. So we learned some stuff from that. Tierney and I just got back from the CSU Extension Forum where these interns then they present their findings. So there are some tangible things like she visited with some ag producers. It was related to agritourism and how we could maybe connect people a little bit better. So it was like they were looking for business skills. We could host, QuickBook trainings, things like that. So that'll be fun to continue on that and, build upon with that. She was a PhD student, so that was really a really cool program to connect with different people who I don't always work with the city economic development directors, but it was an interesting tie-in of agriculture and our local cities, how we can, build businesses all across the county. So I guess those are a few of the random things that we're working on. Hopefully kind of slowing down, except for now 4-H enrollment is open as of October 1st. So that's our big excitement that we have going on. But yeah, do you have any questions for me or for us?
No.
Okay. Just what kind of cupcakes they are? Yeah.
I just
you guys,
want to know what kind of cupcake.
Okay, you
What
guys.
are we
can-
walking across the street for?
What are you walking? Oh yeah, chocolate
Yeah.
or vanilla. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Well, thank you
There you
guys.
go. Green,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
4-H green.
4-H green. Yeah.
4-H green, all right, I like it.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, Emily.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, Mr. Dobry with an emergency food and shelter program.
Kelly Hargraves, this is for the Senior Services Department. She is out of the office today and tomorrow, so asked me to present it. This is for the Emergency Food and Shelter Program, which is a federal program that, that funds emergency food and shelter. And for Montezuma County, this program is managed, and the grant is managed by the Good Food Collective. And they have a total of $67,999. We're asking to apply for $10,000, and it would be for, what it would be for is a reimbursement for costs that have already been borne by the county for food for senior meals. And it's eligible costs from 10/1/21 through the end of this year. So Kelly looked at it and thought 10,000 would be a reasonable number for us to apply for this. The only other thing I wanted to highlight to you is there's the old grant form, and then this version is will be the new version. You'll probably for a little while be seeing some of the new as I get signed on. You will probably be seeing both versions as we transition fully to Amplifund, because I need to get sign-ons for all of the department heads as they get. But this is what the new form will look like. There aren't the signature spots anymore because it will be it's through the system, through Amplifund system, so it'll be like online authorizations basically. But the same authorities, departments cannot apply for things without your approval, obviously. So I included both versions here, and if you had any other questions about the grant, I'm happy to answer them.
I don't have any AAAs.
I don't.
Still struggling with their funding too, right? So, okay.
Yeah, and this, Kelly and I are both looking for any available funds for senior services to make sure to cover as much of our costs as possible going forward.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Robert. All right, and we have come to the end of our meeting for this workshop. Just to let everybody know, we will have our town hall tonight between 6 and 8 p.m. at the Pleasant View Fire Department. All three commissioners will be there, so if you're interested in having a conversation, come on out to Pleasant View Fire Department between 6 and 8 p.m. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all.